Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show in which we talk about pilot orders, series orders, renewals, cancellations, casting updates, all that kind of thing. We didn't actually have an episode last week. I can't even remember why. Things just got delayed, and then eventually it was like, well, we'll just wait until this week and double up.
You fell asleep on the Friday, and I was out drinking on the Sunday. And the Saturday is already booked up with comics. So
yes,
that's
what
happened. Yeah.
That was it, yes. So we do have a lot of the news from the previous week included in this batch. Most of the interesting stuff anyway that stuck out to me. And we're going to go through it all, so that's what we'll do. So without further ado, we will jump straight in. No renewals or cancellations this week, actually, to talk about. And that's 2 weeks worth, which is interesting. At least of note. I'm sure someone's going to find one. It's like, hey, this technically got renewed last week. I'm like, yeah, but is it something we would talk about? Probably not. Probably not. Anyway.
Oh, I hope there was something.
So Altered Carbon Season 2's got a premiere date, because we were all excited about that, of course. February 27th
Yay.
is when it's going to hit. 8 episodes, Season 2. So...
Is that less than the first season?
Yeah, it's 2 less. 8 seems to be the more common number now. If anything, I was shocked to see that Lost in Space Season 2 still had 10, because most seasons on Netflix now are 8.
Are they?
I'd say the vast majority are now. Most of what we've been covering the last year or so have been 8.
It always feels hit or miss to me whether it's 8 or 10. But I mean, I'm not paying that much attention, I suppose.
Mindhunter was 9, admittedly, so there's a couple of weird oddities as well.
Mindhunter's just weird and does whatever the hell it wants, except do more episodes, but whatever.
Yeah, so of course, Anthony Mackie's the star of this season. So, I mean, I'm not going to promise any coverage from us.
I don't know if I care enough,
because we really did not like season 1. We got through the whole thing bizarrely, but I mean,
I don't think if season 1 hit now, I do not think we would have got anywhere near through that whole season.
No. We would have done one episode and said that we got too much stuff on. There's no point. So here we are. Next up. Oh, look at this! Something not going too well with a Star Wars show. This good news.
Okay. I got my defense at the ready. Don't worry.
Well. I mean, I'm just reading what's here. I'm just reading the facts as they're presented to me.
And let's see if you have the latest update or not.
I don't know. I have no idea. But yes. So apparently, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series for Disney Plus has been pushed back or paused, as the exact phrase here, for reshuffling of the creative team. Hossein Amini is no longer attached to write, and the show will go back to the drawing board and wait for a new hope to emerge. All right, deadline, I get it. You're being, whatever you're phrasing. It'll still star Ewan McGregor, of course, and Deborah Chow's on board still as a director, but the actual creative writing force behind it is going to change. So this says to me that they wanted an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but didn't necessarily have like an actual concept or
what's interesting is obviously Ewan McGregor is on the press tour at the minute for Birds of Prey, and inevitably got asked about this. And he did downplay it a bit and said, that they're just doing rewrites, they're not starting from scratch. And he said production was just pushed back from, they were going to start in August, and now they're starting in late August, and now they're going to start in January, I think. It's been pushed back by 4 or 5 months. Because some places were making a huge deal about this, like, they've let all the crew go. And it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of what you have to do when you push something with schedules like that. That's the dumb thing. So, I mean, I think it was overblown a bit just because headlines, but, rewrites, I'm sure are obviously happening. How severe, I don't know.
Yeah. It might lead to a better show in the long run, but you know me, I enjoy any negative Star Wars news. Always brings a...
Do you know, because I learned this since the last time we did a news review, or at least since the last time there was any relevant point to bring it up. The Mandalorian didn't shoot on, actual sets. It was rear screen projection for a lot of it, and that blew my mind when I saw. Because it looks, incredible. All the stuff outside on the planets. It's rear screen projection on a soundstage, and I was like, damn, that looks incredible for that.
No, it does. I have to ask why, though, at that point.
I mean, I guess it's probably easier to do it all in a soundstage if you can have it look like that in a soundstage.
I mean, true. I think the purist in me, though, is like, just go shoot outside properly.
No, I get that, but you agreed that show looked visually fantastic.
fantastic's maybe a strong word, but sure, it looked good.
Fine. But you never believed that it was a soundstage. You assumed it was outside until I just told you this.
Yeah, no, that's true. I never had a suspicion that it wasn't actually shot outside. But
and it blew my mind when I saw the behind the scenes pictures of it, and I was like, wow, I'm more impressed now seeing it like that they got those results, because I never questioned the authenticity of it, which it just shocked me. I was quite impressed, and I was like, I did not realize the technology was at that level for something like rear screen projection.
If you get enough money to spend on it, it probably does.
It is, but I'm like, okay, well, what else can you do now if they can do it like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, how much money went into creating those backdrops, in advance? Like, how much? Because they're presumably CG, so like, how much money went into making those look as good as they did?
Yeah, it's very possible.
So, I mean, yeah, it might technically be easier. Is it cheaper? I guess that depends on where you want to shoot.
Depends on where you want to shoot, how much effort it's going to be to touch up the CG of the location anyway afterwards and enhance it. Yeah, I mean, obviously they made the call that it was worth it. Whether or not it's viable for anyone else,
this bugs me a little bit, though. It's not the exact same, but it's kind of like how in Avengers Endgame, which you've seen now, right? So I can actually say this and you'll know what I'm talking about. So you know how when they're, they get all their white suits to go into the machine, right?
Sure.
All those white suits are CG. And the reason for that is because they hadn't designed them yet. So they just thought, no, we'll design them later. We'll just shoot it with, motion markers and like put them in later.
Sure.
And that annoys me. It annoys me so much because it's like you're taking these, like you're essentially, instead of making decisions that you have to make as a storyteller in the right part of the process, you're giving yourself this weird like extra leeway that
I get where you're coming from, but honestly, if I can't tell the difference, I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, the end product, if I can't tell, it doesn't matter. Like, until I saw this, I had no idea. Until I told you right now, you had no idea about this in The Mandalorian.
It's not about the end product. It's about the principle of the actual making of the thing.
Now you're just being pretentious. The end product is what matters.
No, I'm not being pretentious about this. I'm saying this as someone who respects filmmaking, not as someone who's watching the final product. There's a difference here. I'm critiquing it for a different reason.
It's still filmmaking. It's just a different aspect of it.
I didn't say it wasn't filmmaking. You're putting words in my mouth. I said that I'm critiquing how they did it.
Yeah.
There's I'll put it this way: a oneer, for example, like a one-take shot that this big, long, elaborate take that goes through a bunch of things. I've heard people. I don't mean to pick in Star Wars because I'm going to use Star Wars as an example. It's just because it's the first one that comes to mind. But the start of Revenge of the Sith has this big one-take shot right in space, and people talk about how great it is. I've seen people say that, and I'm like, yeah, but it's all CG. It means nothing. There's nothing to this being a winner.
Yeah, they're not like dodging around real physical locations.
You can do whatever you want with the camera because it's all fake. It doesn't matter. And to me, part of the beauty of actually, lighting a scene and shooting it, it to me it takes away something from, say, the DOP, for example, who's lighting a scene. Instead of lighting for costumes that are in the scene, he's now lighting for, like the effects, the effect shots and what the effects people need to do it later. I don't know.
It's just a different challenge for them, though, isn't it? Because it's not like still work. They still have to think about things. They're just thinking about it differently.
That's satisfying.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, if I could tell, because I didn't know this about those white suits, and
yes,
I have problems with that movie. Don't get me wrong, but I couldn't tell that those suits were not there at all.
Oh, I didn't either. I think it bugs me in the fundamental level. There's no real reason why they shouldn't be there and ready for the scene. It's just like, I don't want to call it laziness because that's not the right word. It takes a lot of effort to make these movies, but because sometimes you'll find out something CG in a movie and you'll go, okay, I understand why, for safety reasons, why you didn't have this thing really there or whatever. Like, for example, and this one always blows my mind because it's impressive for the time it came out, but during Jurassic Park, when the T-Rex flips the car upside down, and obviously a lot of the T-Rex is CG in that, but what you probably never realized is that car, when the kids are like squishing underneath it, is entirely CG the entire time, and it looks photoreal the whole time, which is super impressive for 1993 CG. And at no point am I annoyed by that, because I'm like, well, no, it's obviously for safety reasons, because you're having to like shoot, people in danger, and it's just there's reasons to not do it. But when your reason for not having a costume is just because, oh no, we'll decide what it looks like later. That bugs me.
I assume it's a scheduling thing. Like, okay, this movie needs to be shooting here now, whatever. Costume designers are all busy on other parts, and they're not. And this is the low priority.
Oh, that just gets to like why movies shouldn't have release dates so early.
Oh yeah. That's a whole thing. But when they've like, okay, this is the thing we've got to hit. This is the target. This is when everything's going to be done. This is when we've got to shoot this scene because this is when we've got all these people. Sure, I get that. That's why they made that decision. You know, it's as equally a valid reason as safety in this circumstance. It's scheduling.
It's funny because in a lot of ways CG is the most magical thing about filmmaking because you can just do anything with it. But bizarrely, just using it for things makes it feel less magical to me because it's less impressive.
Yeah, I get that. Honestly, I always say if I can't tell, it ultimately always just comes down to the end product.
Yeah, but again, I'm not talking about the end product here. I'm not critiquing how it looks or doesn't look in the end product. That is not anything to do with the basis of my problems here.
I get that. I get it.
Anyway, yeah, Ewan McGregor's show has been pushed back. What to do? I'm not watching it. It's fine.
He's doing the first episode.
No, I'm not. People even asked on the final Mandalorian episode for me to never review Star Wars things again.
He's doing the Rogue One first episode, though.
No, I'm not. I'm done.
Oh, he is. We need the rage.
I'm done. There's no point. No one's going to get anything out of me for it.
Someone will pay for a review. Someone will do it.
It's an option. There's an option to do that in my live streams.
How much is it to make you watch Rogue One? The first episode of the Rogue One show.
I believe a pilot review is $50 on that menu, on that tip menu.
I got plenty of time to save up.
Hey, if you want to buy the review, you can buy the review.
We'll chip in.
Anyway,
Matt and Tim will chip in too.
Let's move on. Speaking of, actually jump into Marvel stuff actually, since we were mentioning things there. Hulu's not moving forward with a couple of animated series that we're working on, which was Howard the Duck and Tigra and Dazzler. That was two shows that they were working on, but they're not going to do it anymore. There's still a couple of Marvel animated series in the works at Hulu though. Hitmonkey and MODOK, along with the live action Hellstrom, are still actually technically in production or in development. I
don't remember any of these even existing, let alone that some of them have been cancelled.
I remember Hellstrom just because there was a bit of news about it not that long ago. But
was that the one with the Ghost Rider stuff?
Yeah, like it was going to have the Ghost Rider, but then it didn't, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard not to assume that this may have something to do with all the changes at Marvel's like structuring recently. With Kevin Feige becoming in charge of everything and not just the movies anymore.
I want to give this the benefit of the doubt in the sense that other shows are continuing in production and go, well, maybe these just weren't working and they were cancelled for the same way that often TV shows in pre-production do all the time, right?
Yeah, but I also wonder if he came in and said, no, we're going to use these characters, so you can't use them, but you can still do these two or three.
It's possible, yeah. Can't rule it out.
That said, though, it's mostly animated stuff here, and I feel like
they've tended to be really okay with having animated stuff very separate.
Yeah, just have that be its own thing, not care. So it may not have anything to do with that, or maybe it's like, oh no, we've got another idea to do something animated with these characters, or who knows. Or it could, like you say, it could just be a normal, this isn't working, we're going to abandon it. Rather than anything else, but it comes soon enough after that Marvel restructuring that it's hard not to at least say, it's a possibility that that's something to do with.
Oh, definitely, it is a possibility. It always is when it comes down to Marvel properties and on anywhere that's not Disney Plus now, basically.
Yeah, and then sticking with Marvel, a couple of casting things. Owen Wilson has been cast in the Loki series on Disney Plus. No word on who he's playing, but Owen Wilson's going to be in there. No thoughts?
Bold of the brave.
I do not know. And then
that's my prediction. I've not read anything. First I'm hearing about this news. That is it there.
And then likewise, I don't really know who this guy is, but Enemy Within the Brave star Noah Mills has been cast in The Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, there you go.
Yeah. I believe I remember someone saying that was coming sooner than expected as well, like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Scarlet Witch and WandaVision was, sorry. Maybe this one getting pushed up too. I didn't see that though.
Yeah, I think I just saw like something, a vague headline a week ago, so I don't really remember any details, but It could have been.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning though that Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan obviously there, but they also confirmed a while ago that Daniel Brühl's going to be in there, and also Emily Van Camp, who was Sharon Carter. So they've actually got a lot of the supporting cast from those like Captain America movies that you would expect to be here for this, are here for it, which is cool. So yeah, yeah, good. So just a couple of bits of Marvel casting there. Some more casting. Expanse Season 5 has upped a few people to series regulars. Kian Alexander, Nadine Nickel, and Josiah Chase Owens. That is Marco from Season 4.
Of course, makes sense.
The Mouse Sister, who we only seen briefly in Season 4, but was in Season 3 a bit more.
She's been off and on for a while, yeah.
And then this third dude, is that Marco's son, that third dude? I think it is. So
that would make sense, let's be honest.
That would make sense, yeah. Make a lot of sense. So yeah, that's cool. Alexander and Nicole have recorded as Marco and Melba respectively, and Owen's guest starred in one episode. Yeah, it's Philip. Yeah, so yeah, the son. So that's cool. But they all make sense.
They nearly finished shooting the season as well. I know I saw some tweeting about it. They're filming the last 2 episodes right now. It's
worth mentioning a lot of these casting announcements tend to happen long after the decision's actually been made. It's just this revealed to the public is because, like you say, they're almost finished shooting, so this has already been a thing. It's just
there's a certain press cycle where every so often they want to remind you that this exists and just kind of bring it back to your awareness so that you don't forget about it over the next year and a half.
Yeah, so Marco and Philip obviously make a lot of sense here. Having the Mouse Sister back is actually kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah, it's not out of nowhere, but it wouldn't have been my first prediction.
Yeah, I mean, we could have totally not seen her for 2 more seasons and then she'd come back then. I mean, that wouldn't have been that weird, but cool that she's back now.
Yeah.
For season 5. So all good stuff. And then sticking with some casting, the DMZ series at HBO Max has cast Rosario Dawson in the lead role. So they got some star power there. Ava DuVernay is executive producing this, of course, based on the comic book series by Brian Wood. So I'll just remind you what this is, but we've talked about this in development before, but this is just the news that Rosario Dawson's been cast in it. Part of the Vertigo imprint, it takes place in the near future, where America is embroiled in a bitter civil war, leaving Manhattan a demilitarized zone, hence the title of the series. Destroyed and isolated from the rest of the world, Dawson will play fierce medic Alma Ortego, who goes on a harrowing journey of saving lives while desperately trying to find her lost son. As she contends with gangs, militias, demagogues, and warlords that control the lawless no man's land, she becomes an unlikely source of what everyone here has lost: hope. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to try it. When this, I've not read the comic, but
it's one of those concepts that's been on my radar for a very long time now.
It sounds like a good thing for a sort of nice big budget streaming show. The premise, from the sounds of it,
you can see the journey of and the almost serialized nature of he's had a structure an episode.
Yeah, no, I can totally see this working. So HBO Max doing stuff, and then next up, the sci-fi series is coming called Resident Alien, which we've heard about before. It's cast a few people. Notably, I thought it'd be worth mentioning because one of them is Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor from Terminator movies. It feels big enough to worth mentioning. Mandel Moynihan's also been cast, as well as Canadian actor Alex Barima, who's in the Exorcist TV show. So they've all been cast in Resident Alien, which is a sort of sci-fi comedy dramedy show that's coming to sci-fi. So I hope you like it for 2 seasons before it's cancelled, like every sci-fi show is. But there you go.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, because I might have watched the rest of season 2 of Krypton at some point, and it got cancelled. And it's like, well, there's no point now because I'm just going to be annoyed when I get to the end.
Pretty much. I literally haven't touched it again, even though I quite liked it.
Yeah,
it was a pretty, perfectly good show.
Yep. We didn't like Happy that much, but that cancelled after 2 seasons.
Yeah, people are upset about Dark Matter.
Dark Matter was 3 seasons and then got cancelled. Yeah, they cancel so much stuff in sci-fi. It's hard to get attached to anything.
Wait until it's like at least 3 seasons in, and that's what people tend to do, which is what leads to the cancellations in the first place. It's a vicious circle.
It's a vicious cycle, but it's kind of their fault for making everyone not trust them in the first place.
Yeah.
So,
Thank God Amazon saved The Expanse.
I know. It's the only one I care about. So we're on to the comedy shows that have been picked up or in development or so on and so on. Fox has given a green light to a pilot order of This Country, which is based on a BBC series from Sex and the City writer and producer Jenny Bix and Bridesmaids director Paul Feig. So pilot's been ordered. This Country is a half-hour mockumentary inspired by the BBC Three scripted format originally created by Daisy May Cooper and Charlie Cooper. The show follows the daily lives of cousins Kelly and Shrub Mallet, who are trailed by a documentary crew who go to a small town to study young adults and their current concerns in the idiosyncratic surroundings. The show follows the pair as they pursue their dreams, confront challenges, and fight each other for frozen pizza.
Okay, I mean, it sounds fine.
Yeah, there's a picture in this article which I assume is the original BBC show, because they look like they don't look like American actors. They look like they're...
How chavvy are they?
Pretty chavvy. Pretty chavvy.
That's BBC Three for you, folks.
So yeah, not for me, I don't think, but it's a thing. Fox have ordered that. On a NBC, there's a few pilots in this article, so bear with me. So NBC, of course, are known for their half-hour comedies, and they've picked up quite a few here. So they're giving a pilot green light to 3 single-camera projects. Someone Out There, a romantic comedy based on a Spanish format from Forever creator Matt Hubbard, with the writing team of Josh Siegel and Dylan Morgan. So an untitled comedy from the Brooklyn Nine-Nine duo writer, producer of Phil Augusta Jackson, and co-creator, executive producer Dan Goor. So that's got some cred behind it in terms of, us liking Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
And then the third one's called Crazy for You, a dating comedy from former Saturday Night Live producer Rochelle Lynn and fellow SNL alum Seth Meyers and SNL boss Lorne Michaels. All 3 are from Universal Studios, so they're all owned by the parent company.
It's all in-house, yeah.
Which is perfect for things going to Peacock after they've aired on NBC. So, yes. And they joined 2 more comedy pilots that were ordered earlier today, the multi-camera Jeffries and the single-camera American Auto, with multi-camera Night School ordered to pilot earlier in January. So NBC are racking up these sitcoms.
I do feel like they're ordering these now looking at Peacock.
That's very possible. I mean, don't get me wrong, not all of these will make it to air. These are all pilots, but they won't all make it to the final order. But they are ordering a lot of them. This is a lot of pilots.
More than usual for them. And they obviously tend to order a fair amount anyway, because that's kind of what they're known for, is the sitcoms. But yeah. I do think they're starting to look at this going, right, okay, which of these are going to, have appeal on a streaming service where people can just binge through a season or more in the long run. So
here's just the 3 main ones that are mentioned in this article. Somewhere Out There is based on the Spanish format Pequeñas Coincidencias, probably butchered that, created by Javier Vega. The single-camera romantic comedy is about 2 set-in-their-way adults who are challenged by a very unexpected strangers to become the best versions of themselves in order to find love and possibly each other. So that's that. The Untitled Jackson and Goor comedy is about a group of black friends, their dating lives, and wine. Jackson is writing with Goor supervising and executive producing. So,
literally the only thing that has going for it right now is the cred from their past experience.
Yes.
Because that description gives me nothing.
Well, what's good about it though is that with comedies, all that matters is how good the writing is. Like the premise can be a group of friends who drink wine together. That can be the whole premise of a show, and it'll be fine.
Oh, it absolutely can. But if you tell me that's the premise, you need to back it up with talent.
Sure, and they kind of have.
In this case, they kind of have. They've given me past credits that I go, okay, these people have past things that I like, so I might like this.
Yeah, and it's one of these examples of it's not the showrunner of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's 2 of the writers on the team who are now leaving to do their own thing. So you hope that what they've learned from Brooklyn Nine-Nine will translate, and they'll be also good at doing their own show. So
yeah, absolutely, because obviously they're in the writing room, they're writing. Presumably their own fair share of the jokes in the show. Do
you have any idea how many writers from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer I see popping up as running new shows or directing their own movies now?
Yes, I do, because you never fail to mention that they're from that show.
Oh, do I? I never noticed. And then the other one, Crazy for You, is about Daisy, who, with her life stalling, re-enters the dating scene only to discover that while she was out of the game sort of completely changed. Realising that she's a bit rusty at being normal and appealing on first dates, she'll need the support of her friends as she strives to succeed while being her true self in today's quick-to-dismiss dating culture. So it's about online dating. It's about Tinder and shit like that, presumably. By the sounds of it. So that is your pilot pickups there. I might have an article with those other two that were mentioned as being the same day. If I don't, then that's why I mentioned them there. But hopefully I do.
As professional as ever.
Yes. We're on a CBS pilot though next, which I know you always love. They've got a pilot order to be positive, and that's just the letter B, not the word B.
Oh, I hate you, CBS.
So it sounds like a blood type is what I'm saying. It's a multi-camera comedy from Mum co-executive producer Marco Panette and
Is it in a hospital?
And series creator Chuck Lorre. So it's the guy behind 2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory and all those shows that you love dearly. Be positive is okay. Give me the next bit. All right. So be positive. Faced with finding a kidney donor, newly divorced dad Drew is at the end of his rope when he runs into Gina, a rough around the edges woman from his past who volunteers her own. Together they form an unlikely bond and begin a journey that will change both of their lives forever. The word forever wasn't actually there, but I feel like I built up to it, so I just said it.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too. ABC, they've got the comedy pilots going as well. ABC's given a pilot order to My Village, a multi-camera comedy from New Adventures of Old Christine creator Carrie Eliza. Written and executive produced by Eliza, My Village revolves around an empty nester mum who wonders how she ended up alone while her children live their best lives thousands of miles away. She decides her place is with her family as she reinserts herself into their lives. Her kids realise they may actually need her more than they thought. Oh.
I would hate if my mother did that. Frankly.
Of course. It's I mean, how many sitcom premises are about, parents and kids are forced back together in some way?
No, I know. And usually it's, circumstance, the kid has to move back in with a parent, whatever. This is the mom actively going, nah, screw you, I'm coming and living with you guys. I'm coming and living near you.
Yeah. I feel like more often than not, it tends to be the parent has to move in with the kids for whatever reason.
Sure, either way though. But it's usually for financial circumstances. Whatever's happened, there's usually something's gone wrong and they have to move in, rather than they just choose to go and live near them.
ABC is given a pilot order for Prospect, a single camera comedy from I Hate My Teenage Daughter creators Sherry Belson Graham and Ellen Creamer. Clearly the person who wrote that title does not want to interfere with their daughter's life. They just want to stay back.
Now that's a title of a show I can get behind.
Written by Belson Graham and Creamer, and to be directed by Einhorn. Who's Einhorn? Randall Einhorn.
Someone with a great name.
Yeah, Randall Einhorn. Prospect is described as a comedic western with a feminist twist. An idealistic young woman moves to the frontier to be a school teacher, but her ideals quickly are tested when she learns that her students are rowdy ranch hands, not children. Okay.
That's different.
Yeah, okay. And it sounds like it's actually set,
Is it in the old... I mean, I assume so, given the name.
It's actually goes to the frontier. I mean, you don't really describe someone as going to the frontier now, do you?
I mean, you probably could, but I mean...
What's the frontier now? Space?
It could be.
The final frontier. Next up...
I thought about that. I went, nah, I got more class than that. And you just went ahead and just spit out as soon as you thought of it.
You describe it as class. I describe it as fear. Fear of the inevitability that you don't want to accept. All right, moving on. Amazon Studios has put in development The Hospital, a darkly comedic animated series that will mark the first project from Natasha Lyonne. How do you say her name? Is it Leon?
I would have said Leon, but
Leon. Yeah, okay. I doubt it myself. Maya Rudolph's also involved. It's their Animal Pictures. And they first signed a first look deal with Amazon back in November. Created by Kuroko Dunlap, who works with Leon and supervising producer on Netflix's Russian Doll. The Hospital follows Sleech and Clack. Don't worry. Two alien, but they're aliens, so the names aren't...
Oh, that makes it all better.
It does. Because they're aliens. Of course they have weird names. Two brilliant female alien doctors who specialise in rare sci-fi illnesses. When Sleech defies protocol, she contracts a disease from another dimension, and our heroes must find a cure before the universe is destroyed.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, it's got more going for it than some of these sitcom pilots. I'd say that much.
Definitely, it's unique.
Yeah. Plus, Clack's a great name. It just is. HBO Max has put in development a single-camera half-hour comedy based on the life of comedian Ada Rodriguez, starring and co-written by Rodriguez, and executive produced by Tiffany Haddish and her She Ready Productions. So, Chris Case and Nastaran Dabai, the project. So, co-written by those two, The project examines the struggle of Afro-Latina comedian Rodriguez, who is trying to kickstart a career while raising two very different teenagers on her own over multiple time zones. It is an uplifting story of survival and triumph in the face of a darkly funny Miami ghetto upbringing, where she learns skills that allowed her to thrive and survive.
Okay. I'm just generally not a fan of these autobiographical comedies shows. Almost ever. So as soon as I hear that, I kind of my excitement goes down a good few notches. It doesn't sound terrible.
That's fair.
Well, nothing wrong with it beyond my hang up with that style of show.
Next up, again with HBO Max, Broad City alums Paul W. Downs, Lucia Aniello, and Jen Statsky have teamed for a new single camera comedy with two female leads. It's executive produced by the Good Place creator Mike Schur. Yeah, so there's some talent behind there that is interested in a few shows that we've been into. It's landed a pilot order at HBO Max. Written by Downs, Aniello, who also directs, and Statsky, so the trio basically who are developing it. The Untitled comedy revolves around a dark mentorship that forms between two women from different generations, a Las Vegas diva and an entitled outcast 25-year-old. So it's a multi-generational comedy, just to put it in network speak.
Pretty much. Very little to go on there in terms of style or tone.
Yes.
Need more information.
It sounds fine, but yeah, it needs more to really sell it to us. So we're about to go into the drama, so I'll take this time to thank our patron producers for the month. So thank you to David Short, Alison M. Fordyce, Cindy Palacios, and Tyler Hess. Thanks for being patron producers. That means that you're patrons at the $20 tier or above, and you can of course be patrons yourself. You don't have to be a patron at that tier. You can be a patron for as little as $1 and get some bonus content for your troubles. And there's obviously a tier at $5 and so on. So go and have a look and see if you want to help keep all the content coming. But all of it's a great help. So go and have a look. But anyway, so full spoilers. Or the dramas. I'm so used to doing that before I go to spoilers in the movie shows. So yes, the dramas that are in development then. Although this first one's a bit more vague than that, but it definitely felt like the headliner for this section. Is that
that'd be good?
Deadline have got a scoop here, talking about how Bad Robot is developing a Justice League Dark project for Warner Brothers, and it could both be TV and movie. So I mean, it could end up being a movie instead of a TV show, but right now they're developing it as either. It could be both.
Do you know what's funny is I saw this headline and just assumed it was a movie and never clicked it. So when you started talking about this now, I'm like, what? But fair enough.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doubting you. I'm just surprised because I did not actually read the story at any point in the week.
They're developing both film and TV ideas based on DC's Justice League Dark universe at Warner Brothers. The deal's very early right now. There's no specific projects that anyone can talk about. But Bad Robot's head of motion pictures, Hannah Minghella, and head of television, Ben Stephenson, or just Stevenson. Why did I say Stephenson? Stevenson. Do you know what it is? I've never seen Stevenson with the PH spelling. That's what it is. It threw me off.
I think you're just having a weird night because you said Las Vegas a minute ago, and I didn't.
That's just a slight pronunciation hiccup. I've never seen Stevenson with a PH spelling.
Have you not?
I don't think so. It's always a V when it's Stevenson.
There's no reason why it should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's Steven with son at the end, so I suppose it can be a PH, but I've never seen it before, so it threw me. Anyway, Ben Stevenson. So they're the ones that are overseeing this. They're taking pitches of projects and things like that. There's a big description of what Justice League Dark is and how it kind of debuted with the New 52 in that form, which it did. So cool. Obviously there was the Guillermo del Toro project as a movie in development for a long time, which eventually just kind of withered and died and didn't go anywhere.
Like half of Del Toro's projects.
Let's be honest.
Pretty generous.
Well, not only that, like 2/3 of DC's movies projects that have been announced in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. But do you know what did happen?
If anything,
Birds of Prey.
Yeah. If anything, DC's movies have a worse track record for existing than Guillermo del Toro's projects do at this point.
I wonder if that's true or not. I mean, I imagine it's fairly close, to be honest with you.
So someone would have to do a good bit of
numbers.
Analysis, on the numbers and see what it comes out on top. But yeah, interesting though. Interesting. I certainly have more thoughts on that than I do this next thing, which is
just on that. I would prefer it to end up as a TV show. I think it would be much better suited for that in the long run. Yeah,
and given the sort of things that they'd be doing, it definitely feels like the sort of stuff you can do in a TV budget and not compromise that much, because it feels like, it's like Supernatural or indeed the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's something of that level in terms of...
It's very doable on TV, yeah.
But anyway, next up, Netflix have greenlit a One Piece live-action series based on the manga of the same name.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the longest-running mangas and animes of all time.
Oh, is it?
Are you not familiar with One Piece?
I've heard of the title. I don't know anything about it.
Oh yeah. It's one of the biggest shonen mangas in existence.
So 10-episode series has been greenlit. So I guess Netflix do still do 10-episode shows occasionally. After we were talking about them mostly doing 8 now. And we know they've got Cowboy Bebop in the works, although that's taking longer than expected.
Due to an injury, yeah.
Yeah. So they've got a few of these anime adaptations or manga adaptations on the way.
I mean, on that, kind of not quite the same, but kind of in the ballpark. We've got Avatar, Last Airbender.
Is that Netflix?
That's Netflix. In fact, they actually, how Netflix puts up their things that are coming up on on Netflix as an available thing on their site that you can kind of click on and see some of the information for. Apparently, that one went up just in this past week or so, and it said coming 2020. So, which was news in itself.
Am I going to have to?
No actual announcement, but
am I going to have to watch this Avatar: The Last Airbender episode?
I think you are.
God damn it!
I actually watched the first handful of episodes of the cartoon in the last few weeks. It's not bad.
Oh, is it?
It's not bad. Yeah, I'm into it so far. I'll ticking away here or there. But I could see myself really enjoying this show.
We'll see.
People hate it.
So One Piece is a thing, and I'll probably hate it. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah, One Piece. I like a lot of anime that I tend to lean towards the more contained things that have straighter adaptations if it's from a manga, or just has a couple of seasons and arcs, rather than just this runs forever and here are 600 episodes and at least 300 of them are filler because we caught up to the manga and now we just have to wait until they get ahead again. So we'll just make up some shit that whatever. I don't really watch a lot of those.
All right, moving on. Julie Depley, who you might know from the Before Sunrise, Sunset, Before Midnight trilogy, is venturing into TV with a dramedy series which Netflix is doing. It's a co-production between Netflix and Canal Plus. It's got a 12-episode order. I guess Canal Plus fought for those extra 2 episodes. I mean, Netflix used to do 13-episode seasons, but they really have stopped doing that. Like, it's been so long.
They have, but I guess it's not outside the realm of possibility if someone wants it.
That said, though, it's a half-hour series, apparently, so...
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's how they get away with it. Maybe Netflix gave in. So Canal Plus will air this show in France, with Netflix distributing it the rest of the world. On the Verge, it's called. It centers around 4 LA mums, one of them played by Depley, facing challenges with their marriages, careers, family, who are all fighting to be authentic to themselves, to take risks. And that was personal and professional. I've not finished yet, but that was definitely personal and professional, for the record. And to leave whatever is no longer working for them behind. These characters choose to make this point in their life an opportunity for reinvention, an opportunity to finally create life of true meaning for themselves. So for those of you who are not aware, if any variation of personal and professional lives comes up, Connor must take a drink.
I'm trying to choose an appropriate one, because for anyone not aware, as we're recording this, it is the night of Brexit. And so I don't want to just drink a British whiskey. I don't want to be that isolationist too. So, but very limited on my European whiskey choices. So I'm gonna have to just go with a classic. I'm gonna just go with Jameson's, Irish classic, and it's as close as I can get.
With a bit of luck, Scotland can separate from the UK to get away from all this madness, and
you can try. you are not allowed right now. Like, genuinely, you asked and you got told no.
I'm doing my best not to say very harsh swear words right now. Yes. Sounds like a fine drama, but probably not the thing for us. Interesting that it's set in LA, given that it's it's a co-production with a French company, and the actress is even French, but they're not doing, presumably it's going to be in English because it's set in LA.
Everything about that sounds English.
Yeah, so interesting in that sense. But hey, so that's the thing that's happening. Netflix keeping its content diverse as always. Next up, HBO Max has put in development Afropunks, a one-hour drama from writer Janina Kibuka, who worked on Insatiable and Sabrina. Gabriel Union and Holly Shakur Fleischer's I'll Have Another production. That's the company. It's called I'll Have Another Productions.
That's clever.
That's a funny name. And Sony Pictures TV. So they are working on this. Anton Cooper's set to direct and executive produce. Written by Kibuka, Afropunks is a coming-of-age one-hour drama that will follow three teenage misfits on the brink of rebellion as they navigate life, love, and Afropunk. So, yeah.
None of that was professional, so I'm good.
No, you're good. No, I don't think Afropunk's if anything, it's the opposite of professional. It's about rebelling and being individual and all that.
I mean, this again. I have no idea what this is. Tone, style.
Yeah.
I need more to go on.
I like the title. I'll say that much. I do like the title.
Yeah, me too.
So if it has kind of a punky vibe to it, and it's about these rebellious teenagers, and I have to imagine it'll the race is going to play a big part of the story and what they're fighting through and whatnot. But the title does make it seem like it might have a more I don't want to say lighthearted, but like satirical maybe. It'll rather than be like a sort of moody drama about the struggles.
Anything where you bring in the word punk.
Yeah.
Satirical's not a terrible choice, but more off the cuff. It's not taking itself too seriously, even though it has very anarchistic goals often with punk.
I feel like the tone will be not too serious, but it'll probably get serious here or there for like specific things.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it in that.
That's what we're guessing based on the title.
Yeah. So that's Afropunks. Next up, Showtime's up to no good. They've picked up a show for development called Memory, a one-hour drama series from Michael Schultzman. The boys he worked on. So that's cool. Plus his name's probably Saltzman. It's pronounced. I'm having a weird night.
Really bad at this tonight.
Having a weird night.
Suddenly he's no longer European and just doesn't know how to work.
Aaron Kaplan's Capital Entertainment, of course, is involved because they're involved in tons of things. So Ryan Saltzman, Memory is based on the Korean format from Studio Dragon. I love that they're just called Studio Dragon.
We're getting some great names tonight.
Of a story... Yeah. Of a story originally created by Ji Woo Kim and Chan Hong Park. Diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, a high-profile attorney is forced to confront his past mistakes and perilous future, all while racing against time to uncover a big pharma conspiracy that may lead him to a cure that could save his life, his career, and his family.
Balls. Sorry, what network was this on, though?
Showtime.
Okay. I was going to say, on a network, I can see it's being incredibly just procedural and boring legal drama.
First of all, you need to take a drink.
Secondly, I know. I was getting to that. I was just wanted to actually make a point on the thing before we moved on.
Secondly, I'll say that the fact that he might be able to find a cure makes this feel a little hokey. there's a cure for Alzheimer's in this. Makes it feel a little bit cheap because it's a real illness that there is no cure for. So that's a little bit but maybe the Korean show's good, and maybe this could be something. The fact that someone from The Boys is involved with it is a good sign, because that show's really good. So
yeah,
but yeah,
I forgot how easy Jameson is to drink. That's dangerous.
Showtime are the ones doing that. Next up, Hulu are up to something. British playwright and screenwriter Nina Raine has been tapped to write a limited series adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's Tender is the Night. So this is a limited series for Hulu. The project from Colin Callender's Playground Entertainment has been in development since 2018. Tender is the Night, which was published in 1934, was Fitzgerald's fourth and final completed novel. It tells the story of a promising young psychiatrist, Dick Diver.
What are we even doing for the rest of this show? What is the point anymore?
Dick Diver.
Like, I want to say, what are we, like 12? But just give it that. What do you do with that?
Dick Diver.
So you imagine pitching this to the executives. So here's my show. Here's the premise.
Okay.
And here's the signature. Character's name? Dick Diver.
Unless it's supposed to have like a sort of comical effect because of the tone, and I'll get to the rest of this description in a second. I can totally see them changing it to Richard Driver.
I really hope they don't.
Anyway, so this Dick Diver, this psychiatrist, he meets 16-year-old Nicole Warren, who suffers from schizophrenia, before marrying her and moving to the French Riviera. So Dick Diver gets a 16-year-old bride.
What the hell is this show?
Where they start a glamorous life of partying with friends. And Dick gonna dive, apparently, into the underage girl from the sounds of it. So, I mean, I don't know what to think of any of this, outside of how ridiculous the name Dick Diver is. That
was actually very little to go on, and only had anything to talk about because of the name.
There's a giant second paragraph. You want the rest of this?
Tell me more about Dick Diver.
However, Diver's life soon takes a turn after investing in a clinic in Switzerland, being accused of seducing a 15-year-old daughter of one of his Well, he married a 16-year-old. I mean, the fact that he makes it just a 15-year-old is not necessarily...
It's not a huge leap in logic,
yeah,
is it?
It's not that shocking. Jeez. So... I mean, so let's just clarify here up until this point. This show is going to be about a statutory rapist whose name is Dick Diver, right? So they're making me laugh with his name, and then he's doing something really serious afterwards, which makes me feel guilty for laughing so much. So first of all, that's your first strike, show. That's your first strike.
That's the first strike.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
first strike was just having a character called Dick Diver.
That's not a strike. That's worth a badge. That's a merit badge right there. So anyway,
are we on to merits and demerits now instead of strikes?
He's accused of seducing a 15-year-old daughter of one of his patients and driving his wife to jealousy and a car accident. He moves to Berlin, where he finds out his father dies, and on his way back from America, he sleeps with Rosemary Hoyt, a beautiful 18-year-old 18. Let's give him a finally someone
up in the world.
Finally, someone of age. I love it. Right?
Yeah.
He's improved clearly by this point in the story.
Where was he in America for the first girl?
I guess. I don't know. No, Switzerland. No, maybe it was. No, because he moved to Switzerland.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't say what it was.
I don't know what the age of consent is in Switzerland. I don't know if it was technically statutory rape over there or not.
No, he moves to Switzerland after he falls in love with the 16-year-old.
You're right. Okay. So he's 16-year-old in America.
I mean, it's still icky.
It is, yeah.
Forget what the law is, it's just icky.
Oh, no, it is. I'm not disputing that.
60 is too young, that's all I'm saying. 15, therefore...
Unless you're also 16 or 17.
Okay, yeah, I'm not disputing two 16-year-olds dating. Why would I dispute that?
Well, just clarifying.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so he sleeps with Rosemary Hoyt, a beautiful 18-year-old American actress who fell in love with him in France. Wait, what? I'm confused by all this. There's too many countries happening.
So... When was he in France? Was that the first one? Because he went to Switzerland and then he went to Berlin. Now he's in France.
I'm going to go back to the start of this. Right. It tells the story of promising young psychiatrist Dick Diver.
Yeah.
He meets 16-year-old Nicole Warren, who suffers from schizophrenia, before marrying her and moving to the French Riviera.
Right.
So he moves to the French Riviera, right?
But yes, he moves to France.
From an unknown location.
Yes, and then it's the Swiss clinic.
Right. Where they start a glamorous life of partying with friends. However, Diver's life soon takes a turn after investing in a clinic in Switzerland, which he may not live there for that necessarily. He could just be investing.
I assume he visits, though.
Yeah. Being accused of seducing a 15-year-old daughter of one of his patients and driving his wife to jealousy. He moves to Berlin, so he's in Germany now, where he finds out his father dies, and on his way back from America... Where was America? Who says that?
Unless that's way back to America.
That's not what it says, but...
No, I know it's not what it says, but I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, yeah, that could be the mistake here. And on his way to... It says back from, but whatever. Right, he sleeps with Rosemary Hoyt, a beautiful 18-year-old American actress who fell in love with him in France. Presumably, it was the journey from Berlin to America that he goes through France, and he meets this actress.
I don't know why he would, but
he's driving.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, eventually
driving from Berlin to America.
Well, I mean, the book came out in the 30s, remember? So it's not like plane travel might not have been as.
I mean, sure, yeah.
I'm not saying he drives that. I'm saying he gets to the UK and then takes a boat. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, sure, yeah. Honestly, I feel like I'm picturing this in modern setting now.
Yeah, no. Remember, the book came out in the 30s, so presumably the idea of just hopping on a plane is not as
common.
Yeah. So he's driving presumably to get to a boat. Whether he's getting a small boat to the UK or just a boat straight from like France or Spain to whatever.
Yeah. That stands to reason.
Anyway, we're not done yet.
Or did he meet her in France when he was married to the first girl?
But that's when he's accused of being with a 15-year-old. There's so much.
I know.
Anyway, his drinking problem forces him to leave his own business while one of his friends murders a man, and Rosemary notices Nicole having a nervous breakdown in a hotel bath. Who's Nicole? Who's Nicole? This description is like an acid trip. What the hell is happening? Subsequently...
Right, rewind. Find Nicole.
This makes sense. Subsequently, moving back to America, Dick continues to unravel. His wife has an affair and remarries, and Dick ends up living an anonymous life in small-town New York. Which one's his wife at this point? I'm confused by... I'm confused by...
Go back to the start.
I'm confused by who the wife is.
The 16-year-old, surely.
Is she still the wife?
Oh, I don't see why not.
Because it says they fell in love, but I guess it could just been him and Rosemary could have just been
just a fling.
Yeah,
he had mistresses.
It tells the story of promising young psychiatrist Dick Diver.
Yeah.
Stuck at that laugh at that.
Still funny.
He meets a 16-year-old Nicole Warren. Oh, it says Nicole. It says her name. Okay, we just forgot
Nicole
that.
Was the wife.
Yes, we just forgot that. Okay. But it tells you how much of a journey we went on that both of us said, "Who's Nicole?" We mentioned Nicole.
We had to go through that like 4 times. That might be the single best TV description we've ever had on this show.
Or the worst, depending on how you...
Okay, the best in terms of sheer entertainment value. Worst in terms of telling me what the hell the show is. So what happens when he's in New York? He's in small town...
In small town New York. He's in a small town New York.
Sure, yeah. Doing what?
He remarries. Oh, sorry, the wife remarries. He lives anonymously because his wife's left him. He's left with nothing. He's miserable.
So what's the story?
I think that was the whole story. I think this description, because it's a book already, just gave us the whole thing.
Okay. Sure.
I think that's the whole thing. So spoilers, just in case.
Spoilers for the Dick Diver book. Which I don't even know what the name was anymore.
I just closed the tab. I need to go back now. Hold on.
Control Shift T.
Yeah. I'll go back. Tender as the Night.
Okay. Oh, this is the one that was actually like famous, like from the author that I know.
Yes.
That went on a journey. Oh boy.
All right, next up. I don't think any of us want to watch this, but next up.
I mean, I kind of want to see it, just to see the audacity at this point.
If they've changed his name from Dick Diver, I'm not watching it.
No, I'm not.
I refuse. I downright refuse. All right, next up, CW's ordered a couple of things.
Did they order a Dick Diver?
I mean, well, I mean, we'll read the description of both of these shows and we'll see if anyone sounds like a Dick Diver. Okay.
It's the CW show. I'm gonna willing to bet that at least one character does.
Okay, so pilot orders for Kung Fu, the reboot with a female lead, based on the 1970s David Carradine starring. And the other one is a small town drama with female lead, The Republic of Sarah, from Mark Webb, who obviously did those Spider-Man movies, the amazing Spider-Man movies. So here we go. So Kung Fu comes from the Blind Spot team of writer executive producer Christina M. Kim and creator executive producer Martin Giro. Executive produced, of course, by Greg Berlanti, as well as Sarah Schechter. So Republic of Sarah. Where's the description? Damn it! Oh, here we go. Really far down. All right, so here's Kung Fu. Right, written by Kim, inspired by the original series created by Ed Spielman. In the reimagined Kung Fu, a quarter-life crisis.
This is so CW.
A quarter-life crisis. So I assume that means 25. I'm assuming that's what that means.
I mean, it's a CW show, so it won't be any older than that. 20
to 25, yeah. Well, most people think of the 40s as your midlife, so I suppose it makes sense. So, right, so quarter-life crisis of Chinese-American woman to drop out of college and go on a life-changing journey to an isolated monastery in China. I will not make a Dick Diving joke. I'm going to refrain from this. When she returns to find her hometown overrun with crime and corruption, she uses her martial arts skills and Shaolin values to protect her community and bring criminals to justice, all while searching for the assassin who killed her Shaolin master, or Shaolin monk, or not monk, sorry. Her Shaolin mentor is the word I'm trying to say. I said master just by default because it felt like there was a word to go after it. But it is now targeting her.
Sounds like a CW show.
Yeah. I know, it's good, badass Kung Fu female lead. It makes,
This could pair with any of their DC shows.
Honestly, this sounds like a fine CW show for what it is. It's probably not something that we'll like watching because it'll have all the CW qualities we don't like, but it sounds fine in that sense.
How long till she gets a crime fighting team?
And a person in a chair who has, has the computer.
Yeah.
And the person in the chair's code name will be Dick Diver. Dick Diver to Kung Fu. Come in. Dick Diver to Kung Fu.
Oh, this is my new favourite thing.
Oh dear. Next up, the Republic of Sarah. Because we've talked about these before for the record. I'm aware that we have, but this is the official pilot pickup, so we're just reiterating these.
This one I actually vaguely remember because it's just on that title.
No, I remember the Kung Fu one just because of the quarter-life crisis. I remember that phrase being used.
Do you know what? I remember the quarter-life crisis. I assumed it was just in something else that the CW had
no.
Because, I mean, of course.
So the Republic of Sarah is said to have a northern exposure feel. Faced with the destruction of her town at the hands of greedy mining company, rebellious high school teacher Sarah Cooper utilizes an obscure cartographical loophole to declare independence. Now Sarah must lead a young group of misfits as they attempt to start their own country from scratch. So it's like a micronation. She starts her own little micronation. Okay, not a bad premise.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah. So, for some reason, cartography is an easy word to say, but putting graphical at the end of it made it really hard to say. Cartographical.
It's because the emphasis is on a slightly different bit.
Yeah.
Because before it's a cartography, it's on the tog.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's I was trying to do the emphasis on the first bit so much that I forgot the rest of the word. Cartographical, but it's at the start rather than in the middle of the word, so it changes completely.
Yeah. All right, next up, Fox has ordered a pilot. They've ordered The Cleaning Lady, based on the Argentinian series from the 100 writers Miranda Kwok, and Supergirl executive producer Melissa Carter, along with Shay Mitchell's Amore and Vita Productions, and along with Warner Bros. TV, as you do. So, written by Kwok, The Cleaning Lady is a one-hour dark-list aspirational character drama about a whip-smart doctor who comes to the US for a medical treatment to save her... I'm not going to do it. I was going to say save her dick diving... That's obsession, but I'm not going to do it. I'm better than that. To save her ailing son. Right? To save her ailing son.
It could be a dick diver for all we know.
I mean, it could be. But when the system fails and pushes her into hiding, she refuses to be beaten down and marginalized. Instead, she becomes a cleaning lady for the mob and starts playing the game by her own rules. So instead of a punny title, because she's not a cleaning lady in the traditional sense, she's, she cleans, hit sites,
Yeah.
mob hits and things like that. So, yeah.
I could see this being enjoyable, not on the CW.
It's not a CW.
Was this not the CW?
No, this was Fox.
Oh, I mean, that's just as bad, to be honest, in this regard.
Yeah, I could see that.
I feel like it can't be darkly funny enough on Fox for something like this.
Yeah, probably not. That's kind of totally been a show about dick divers, though. The cleaning lady, she has to come in and clean the room after there's been some dick diving going on and clean up.
We're never letting this go, are we?
Clean up the mess. I'm not going to keep this next week, but it's today's joke. It's today's thing, all right? It's today's thing.
It might end up slipping into like the comics podcast tomorrow. Who knows? There might be something appropriate.
Slipping in, you say?
Intentional choice of words.
Oh, dude, I feel like you make a show called Dick Diver is you have like a PI who also like solves crimes in caves, so he has to like dive it. He's like a cave diver, but he's also a dick.
I feel like the constant joke is him saying he's a spelunker.
All right, I can see it. Next up, ABC has ordered a drama pilot from Mark Webb, who we just mentioned on another show. So it's called Wreckage, and it's about a plane crash. And it comes from writers Jacques Walters and Mark Webb with his Black Lamb Productions, Sarah Timberman and Carrie Beverly's Timberman's Beverly Productions. So, written by Walters, Wreckage is based on Emily Bleeker's book of the same name. On the surface, Lillian Linden... Was it a superhero?
It's a mouthful as well.
I suppose Dick Diver as well, so it's like an alias for a superhero, except it sounds so, raunchy. It looks like a brave survivor of a plane crash, but she's been lying to her family, her friends, and the whole world since rescue helicopters scooped her and her fellow survivor, Dave Hall, off the deserted island in the South Pacific. Missing for almost 4 years, the castaways are thrust into the spotlight after their rescue, becoming media darlings overnight, but they can't tell the real story, so they lie. Intrigued. I'm not on ABC admittedly, but it almost feels like they're going for like a sort of a Lost style show, but set after the island, where the island stuff's going to be revealed slowly through.
Yeah, this is something. If you'd give me that description for a HBO mystery show,
sure, yeah,
I'd be so into it.
Or even a Netflix show, I could see. I mean, I know there was an island show on Netflix a while ago that I tried to pilot for, and it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. But I just mean in regards to it feels like it could be a HBO mystery.
Yeah, but there's potential for some stuff in other places. But next up, ABC's ordered more stuff. They've ordered a show called Harlem's Kitchen from drama writer Zahir McGee and Mandeville Television. So Harlem's Kitchen is an ensemble family drama set in a fine dining restaurant in Harlem. Ellis Rice, executive chef and patriarch, runs a successful restaurant with his wife and 3 daughters. But an unexpected death thrusts the family into turmoil and puts the restaurant's future in jeopardy as long-buried secrets are revealed. Long-buried secrets, that's the other drinking rule. Dark secrets in the past and things like that. So, there you go. There you go.
Look at all this European solidarity tonight.
Oh yeah, because when people think of Europe, they think of Ireland first.
Look, I don't have any French whiskey. I'm sorry.
The nice chateau.
Yeah, there's probably some French wine in the cupboard, to be honest with you, but I'm not going to go and open that.
Yeah. Next up, Katie Segal has signed for a role in Rebel, which has been ordered to pilot at ABC. Where are we here? She was sought after for the show apparently over the last little while. Here's the premise. Rebel settles on Annie Rebel Bello, played by Seagal, a blue-collar legal advocate without a law degree. A funny, messy, brilliant and fearless woman who cares desperately about her causes she fights for and the people she loves. When Rebel applies herself to a fight she believes in, she will win at almost any cost. Okay.
Oh, was that the end of it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a network show if ever there was one.
Yep, not much to say on it, to be honest, but that's the thing that's happening. Sticking with ABC, who have got tons of stuff ordered this week. So, yeah, they've given a straight-to-series order for The Big Sky from David E. Kelly, who worked on the Boston Legal franchise at ABC a long time ago, sorry. So, based on the book from C.J. Cox's Cassie Dewell series of novels. So this is the first book they're basing this on. Written by Kelly, The Big Sky is a procedural thriller in which private detective, a dick you say.
What would this person's name be?
It's not Diver, unfortunately. Cassie Dewell partners with an ex-cop, Jenny Hoyt, on search for two sisters who have been kidnapped by a truck driver on a remote highway in Montana. When they discover that they are not the only girls who have disappeared in the area, they must race against the clock to stop the killer before another woman is taken. So, yeah, it's a network thriller. Sounds like it's perfect on ABC.
Yeah, not for us, almost certainly, but
nah.
I mean, if you like these sort of shows, then this is probably another one.
Next up, NBC's ordered 2 more drama pilots. 2 more in this article. At That Age from writer Carla Banks Waddles, and then Night School. Who worked on Good Girls. Night School and Girls Trip director Malcolm D. Lee and his Black Male Productions. And then the other show's called Echo from writer J.J. Bailey and Davis Entertainment. So, written by Banks Waddles, At That Age is the exploration of an African-American family's legacy. After the Cooper's family's golden child suffers a catastrophic event, 7 family members face a foundational shift, make life-altering decisions, and deal with deep secrets coming to light. The fact that it's showing up this often means it was justified in adding to the list. It's a trope. It's a trope with all descriptions. Next up is Echo, a high-concept genre procedural revolving around a team of investigators who solve the highest-profile crimes by sending out our heroes into the past. So timeless? It's basically timeless now? In the body of the victim. Oh, okay, there's a twist.
Timeless meets Travelers.
Timeless meets Travelers. And a bit of source code.
Sure, yeah.
A bit of source code. They assume the victim's identity and must race against time to prevent the crime before it happens. That gives you essentially a guest lead actor every episode. It's, in a way. So that's cool.
That's interesting.
That's a fun premise. And that's the sort of thing that, like, I'm not convinced that any new network shows are going to work for me, but if anything that we've read is going to work on NBC, that one could.
Do you know what I can see them doing, though, just to be peak network and have their pretty boy lead actor? He always sees himself as him in whatever victim's body is in. We always see it as that guy.
That's not as fun.
It's not.
I mean, it can still be good, and they can still sort of do the thing where when we see it from someone else's perspective, it's the guest star that we see. But yeah. No, I can see what you mean. But hey, it's not a terrible premise. That's called Echo. Of any of these network pilots, this is the only one that's like, we'll probably try that one.
It's the most interesting network pilot we've had in months.
Sticking with NBC, they got more. They've given a formal pilot order to Langdon, a drama based on Dan Brown's best-selling thriller novel, The Lost Symbol. So, yeah, I guess.
It's just what we wanted.
Yeah, Langdon follows the early adventures of the famed Harvard symbologist Robert Langdon, who must solve the series of deadly puzzles to save his kidnapped mentor and thwart a chilling global conspiracy.
Are they just remaking the films now?
Kind of sounds like it, to be honest. It's actually been kind of a while since those movies.
That's been a while. They were like early 2000s, right?
The first one definitely was. Because was there a third one that came much later? I feel like there was. Or was it just one sequel? Maybe it was just one sequel that came later.
I don't know anymore. They all just kind of, I don't know. There was a lot of like things that tried to copy it, but I don't know which ones are official and not anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, NBC has greenlit a drama, another one. It's called Ordinary Joe, from House veterans Russell Friend and Garrett Lerner. The Batman writer-director Matt Reeves and his Sixth and Idaho banner are producing, along with 20th Century Fox TV. So, written by Friend and Lerner, Ordinary Joe explores the three parallel lives of the show's main character after he makes a pivotal choice at a crossroads in his life. The series asks the question of how different life might look if you made the decision based on love, loyalty, or passion. That's an interesting premise. Now, admittedly, I'm not super excited about it being on NBC these days, but I will say the idea of having three completely separate timelines of the same character to see how different they are is intriguing. Yeah, it's interesting.
And presumably they get more different as it goes on. And you'll just get these odd little things and coincidences that maybe, ripple across.
I can almost see the ending of the show, if it lasts long enough to have a proper ending, where the ending actually ends up being kind of similar. Like, no matter what, this was always destined to happen. Or maybe some things along the way were always destined to happen because, that's just who he is at his core or whatever. But that's an interesting premise. NBC's got two shows that I'm willing to try a pilot of.
Should we ever get them?
Because they may not make it to air, of course. Which leads us to the final story of the week, finally. It's been a long episode.
I may have one more little thing after.
So. Okay, fair enough. But the last thing I've got is a CBS pilot order called We the Jury. Oh, actually, this is in the wrong section.
What do you mean it's in the wrong section?
This is a comedy. I misread this, obviously, when I was
You're a terrible person.
Putting them in order. So, okay, last little comedy here at the end. We the Jury is a half-hour comedy from the 9JKL co-creator Dana Klein and Stephanie Darrow. So it was sold and developed as a single camera, has been picked up as a hybrid show. So that's interesting. In We the Jury, a group of jurors are sequestered together until they all agree on a verdict, and they can't even agree on lunch. So is this like one jury all season, or is this going to be a different jury every episode? Because that is at least mildly interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure. As a comedy as well, I'm more intrigued by it.
I think I'm more interested in it if it is one jury for 6 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
The idea that this is this long, drawn-out process of them bickering, and it can, add in some extra caveats along the way. That could be something. But hey, that's We the Jury. Sorry for that slight misalignment in show format. You've got something that I didn't get?
Yeah, and it is also going to break format because honestly, I remembered this halfway through you doing stuff. And I was like, you didn't mention this earlier on at the start.
Oh, go on.
This is to do with Netflix's The Crown. So the way that works is, they replace the actress playing the Queen every couple of seasons. So it's Olivia Colman right now, and she's doing season 3 and 4.
So who's the really old one we're getting for season 5?
So season 5, we are getting Imelda Staunton.
Okay.
But the other interesting part of this is season 5 will actually be the final season.
Okay.
It was originally going to be 6 seasons. And the idea was each season was roughly a decade. And that had always been the plan, and it had always been, each actress did 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But the showrunner basically said, at the outset they'd imagined that it would run for 6 seasons, but now working on the stories for season 5, that this is the perfect time and place to stop. So it doesn't sound as much like a cancellation.
It's if anything, it sounds more like Solid Mr. Robot in the sense that it says, no, we don't have enough for 2 more seasons. We'll just do 1 season.
It does sound more like that, yeah. I'm intrigued. I've not been keeping up with it, but 5 seasons is perfectly respectable, especially for a Netflix show. Nothing wrong with that. And given how expensive that show is, Netflix are obviously happy with it still.
And before anyone mistakes what I just said, I know Saul's technically 2 more seasons. I just mean they've got a longer 6th season instead of a 6 season 6 and 7, is what I mean. Yeah. Not counting 5 in that. I just, because someone will correct me and say, but it was 2 more seasons. No, I'm not counting 5. I'm just counting.
Yeah. Just from when they announced the final season. Actually, we're going to do one slightly longer one because we don't have enough for 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
which is a creative decision I can respect.
Which is, yeah, it's fine, because it's them saying, no, we have enough story for this. There's no point in dragging it out to like fill some quota of expected numbers. Like, that's fine.
I mean, there's plenty of conspiracy, because the idea was the final season would go up to more or less present day, and given some of the events in the last few months with the royal family, there's like, oh, maybe they just don't want to tackle that.
Too soon. Yeah, maybe they can do like a season 6 like years later when time's passed and they can get away with it.
Like, and maybe that is part of it. But either way, 5 seasons is perfectly good, and they obviously know well in advance they can write a proper ending to their show.
Yeah, no, that sounds fine.
I see no reason to be disappointed with this, really.
But hey, that is all the news then. I'll just mention briefly, obviously, Picard. Me and Tara have been reviewing that. Episode 2 will be up before this news goes up for sure, so do check out that review. Me and Cara just reviewed Ragnarok from Netflix, the first episode of their new Norwegian show. So you can check out that, which again also should be up before this, I think. So check out that. Plus The Outsider from HBO had another episode this week. We've been doing that, and we're still doing Lost in Space season 2. There's been a little bit of a gap between episodes 6 and 7, which was not intentional. 7 is coming relatively soon. We should be recording that on Sunday. So
And before the next episode of this news, you should have the first review of Lock and Key up.
Oh, the next episode of the news, yes. I thought you meant this one. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not holding this for a week.
I did say the next episode.
That's fine. I just you know, my brain didn't process it. And I was like, wait, what are we talking about? It's another week away. But yes. So, TV stuff happening. So check out all that stuff. The top 50 movies of the decade series is still going on. Part 5 just went up at the time of recording, so do check that out. That's all 5 people from Male Fuzz TV giving their top 50 movies of the 2010s. So that's now halfway done. So the first 25 entries from all 5 people are up. So that's, each one's only 5 entries, but it's 5 people, so it's 25 movies per episode. So it's
pretty lengthy. I mean, like that last part was still like 40 odd minutes.
Yeah, the first one was a bit longer because there's some extra stuff at the start, but all the other parts have all been about 40 to 45 minutes. They've all been kind of in that range. So, which is actually kind of nice how consistent they've been. It feels like a real series in that sense. Like it's just a series of episodes.
It doesn't feel like you just artificially broke them up because otherwise this won't work.
Yes.
No.
It wasn't artificial. There's nothing artificial about it. What are you talking about? It was always planned as a multi-part series.
Obviously, yeah.
Because it would have been
quite that many multi-parts.
It'd have been insanely long if it had been in like 2 parts or whatever.
Yeah. You just didn't originally plan for 10 parts or whatever.
Yeah, I planned for 5. All I did was split it in half again because the parts were going to be too long. It was going to be like these 90-minute plus chunks.
People love 90-minute episodes.
Yes, but they take me longer to edit, so they'd be more spread out. I thought it would be more satisfying for people if they got them more consistently at 45-minute chunks.
Yeah. Maybe you should have just worked harder and edited faster.
Let us know what you think of the news in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. We mentioned, of course, the Patreon earlier, patreon.com/mailfuzztv. Get some bonuses, outtakes, and all that stuff for as little as $1 per month, so go and have a look. You can, of course... I mentioned Twitter, didn't I? Yeah, fine. Okay, I've done. Yeah, thanks very much, guys, once again, for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?